Whoa, what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another weekly rip with Coach Rick and Coach Tut. We're packing lips. We might be ripping some whisks, dropping tips. I don't know, a little bit of everything.
Shooting the shit.
Shooting the shit. We're trying to come up with a new word alliteration. A little catchy saying, but
yeah, we're vibing tonight, man. You know, I got myself one of these old Rasputin Russian Imperial Stout. Shout out North Coast Brewing. Shout out, free ad. If you want to sponsor, reach out.
I'm feeling a little frisky too. You know, I'm solo, very quiet house. I don't even have Stark here, dude. Like, it is literally just
no Stark.
Me. It's kind of freaking me out. Like, I feel like I should be doing something, but I'm solo. So I'm gonna start this off with a little. This is one of my new favorites. Actually, this surpassed Angel's Envy for me.
Okay.
Long Branch. It's a wild turkey. I love it. I actually just found it actually across the street. So it's a bourbon. Very sweet.
Yeah, I try to stay away from anything that comes in a bottle looking like that color.
That's
in my younger years, I've made some bad decisions on things that resemble that, so I try to stay away from it as much as I can.
As some would say, that's that splatter.
Splatter.
Or that splat. So I'm gonna pop up a little IG live here too for us. But how you been, man? I last week when we did this, we had just spent time together. Feel like even the last 2 days, I really haven't talked to you that much.
Yeah, been so hockey season's starting up, and been getting back in the swing with that, training the team and all that. So shout out RMU men's hockey, 2-0, big sweep the weekend. So yeah, been getting back with that and getting ready for the holidays. So put my sign back up. I feel like it's like, can you see the sign?
Yeah.
It's kind of a glare for me, but
one of my favorite, most memorable quotes and sayings that has ever been embedded into my brain. Fucking every morning, 6 a.m. midnight from Coach Jake the Goat Cox.
Yeah, I mainly put that whiteboard up. If you look back, you can kind of see it. My curtains are despicable. So I'm relatively new in this house. So I'm still trying to work on obviously my interesting I don't know what color wall you would call this, aqua colored wall and like tan.
Dude, where you live at now reminds me so much of the style of Georgie's. I feel like Georgie's has those like random colors too.
It honestly, even the neighborhood, man, is really similar. I think that's why I like it so much. Dude, it's kind of like a weirdly set up house, but it's nice.
Ashley and I talk about living in that place when we lived there together so much.
Really?
Dude, that area is freaking nice. We lived like 200 yards away from the train station. It was $2.90 to get right into Center City, Philadelphia on the train.
I know. It was a nice spot. It's, as you said, the good old days. You know, you don't know until you're out of them.
That's one of the things that weighs on me all the time. And I try to catch myself doing it. Like, this is a moment I'm going to look back on and wish that I was still fucking in it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean,
actually, the funny part of that actually is someone today, I did one of like the question things. And someone today asked me what's next. And I was like, really nothing. What's next for me is like focusing on what I have. Any businesses we already have, build those bigger, better, and, you know, sustainable. Then like focusing on spending more time with my family and enjoying it and not worrying about, all right, what's next? Like living in the glory days and enjoying them.
Yeah. Fuck yeah.
You know, like.
And whatever's next is going to happen. Like whenever that opportunity comes, you're going to know, and you're going to be like, hey, let's jump on it.
Yeah. I think I spent so much time because I had like all the stuff that we have now, supplements, the No Windy Sleeves, like the movement, and then the gyms. Like I always wanted those. So it was like, how fast can I get to them? You know, I'm glad we have them now, but I was always living in that what the fuck is next, dude. And sometimes I look back at the last 3 years and I'm like, I was always waiting for my wedding, waiting to propose to Ashley, waiting for my wedding, waiting to have a kid, you know, and it's like, where the fuck did it go?
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
how much has Emerson changed your perspective on everything? Because I mean, I don't know if you remember, we were told one time, like, yeah, everything's all, you're so locked in on what your goals are until you have your first kid. Then your perspective changes a lot. Has it changed at all, or do you think you still kind of think the same way?
It is definitely, my goals are the same, but I feel like they're my goals for a different reason. You know what I'm saying?
Oh,
Like,
yeah, yeah.
I used to want to build these big companies. It was almost like ego driven. Like, I wanted to prove the people that said I was a loser in high school wrong. I wanted to have all the nice shit. Now I'm just like, I want to be successful to where there's no stress ever. She can have anything she wants if she earns it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I want to make multi-million-dollar companies so she doesn't have to worry about shit. You
Yeah.
know, it just like flips.
I think that's cool though that you have that perspective where you can take the same goal but use a different driver for it. You know what I mean? Which I think is important, because if you have a goal and something comes up where why you were working towards that goal gets derailed for whatever reason, you can keep the same, relatively the same goal, but just find a different motive to reach it. You know?
Yeah. Well, dude, Ed Milet, I think we talked about this last week briefly. Ed Milet and Grant Cardone say like they build their businesses with their family in the roots of them, right? So it's really like their kids are involved in their work. They're at their meetings. They're doing these things, right? So like I feel like all of my goals have always been like oriented to like a family. Ashley's always been involved in them. It's going to be easy to like bring Emerson into them, right? So it's never like dad leaves for work, he's going to go have his goals there, and it's not like directly impacting them, or they're not in there. They're not at our big summit that we're having in December. Like they'll be there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I think it makes your work to life balance so much easier, where it's all one. You don't have to worry about balancing it because like you love what you do. So you don't have to worry about balancing it because it's all tied together. You know?
It's part of your life. And like, that's the thing. Like a nice Saturday for us is when we go lift together and Emerson's there in her carrier, bassinet. Well, Ash and I are lifting, right? And that's like, we're at the gym. I'm working. I'm still having meetings there. I'm doing stuff, but like they're a part of it.
And
Ashley
it's going
runs
to
the
be
social
cool.
media for us.
It's going to be cool when, like, she's got a soccer game or like a dance recital or something, and we can all go watch,
Yeah.
where like it goes both ways.
One of the things that attracted me so much to getting into coaching was watching my college coach after home games. His wife would come with their two kids. After the game, when all the players are talking and coaches, blah, 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 where you see a lot of coaches, they go review the game or whatever. He's running around the infield with his kids. And they were in the stands cheering. And I was like, dude, I want that so fucking bad. Like, they're a direct part of it. Like, his son's our bat boy.
Yeah.
Like, that to me, like, is sick. You know what I'm saying? Because, like, there's never separation.
So here's a difficult question for you then. If Emerson grows up, just doesn't want anything to do with the business, right? How do you deal with that? Do you cross that bridge when you get there? Or do you be like, hey, listen, this is what I do. Like, we're going to have to figure out how to work it. Do you say, hey, listen, like, I'll do what I need to do to make whatever you want to do happy and make, help your life successful and whatever you want to do?
Yeah, I think we always say, like, before you have a kid, you're like, I'm tying my kid's right hand behind his back so he can be a left-handed pitcher, right? You're like, I'm going to put a baseball in his hand when he's 2 weeks old. I'm going to put a golf club. Now I really don't give a shit. Besides maybe doing dances and on TikTok, because they're all shaking their butts. I will, even though we're going to get into that, how much money you can make doing that. She can do whatever she wants. I think I don't really give a shit if she wants to come lift, but I would hope that she goes and wants to see Uncle Rick at the headquarters. You know what I'm saying? When we're there, like, hang out with the guys, shoot the shit like that. If she doesn't want to lift, if she doesn't want to work in the businesses we have, hopefully she chooses to do something where she'll enjoy it more and make more money. But I always joke around with Rue. I'm like, you're going to be getting her coffee someday when, like, she's the CEO of all this shit. Roos always says that Stark's the only one in the Tuttle family that loves him.
Rue's a good guy. He needs to fucking lighten up.
Speaking of that, though, I'm going to roll right into it because this is my favorite topic we talk about during the week. TikTok of the week, right? You and I just had a conversation about it. First of all, male TikTokers at that age catch a
What's
lot
on
of
your
shit.
hand?
Paint from the gym.
Nice.
Male TikTok, they get a lot of shit for it, right? Oh, I would never do that. First of all, the one that just went viral, that football kid that's going to Harvard. Can you play it?
And disappear right after the song. So give me the night to show you and hold you. Don't leave me out here too long. Then make up your mind, 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 mind. Please don't waste my time, 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 time. Not trying to rewind, wind, 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 wind. As we come together as one. Shawty is a eeny, meeny, miny, mo, lover. Shawty is a eeny, meeny, miny, mo, lover. Shawty is a eeny, meeny, miny, mo, lover. Shawty is a eeny, meeny, miny, mo, lover.
Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Get your fat chick by her toe. If she holler, if she holler, let her go. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Get your fat chick by her toe. If she holler, let her go.
It's fucking catchy. I don't care who you are. The vibes in the locker room, they're having a good time. That shit is catchy and fun to watch. And most of the time you see kids do that. That dude has 30 touchdowns in 8 games. He has a 4.0. He's going to Harvard. Yet the most accomplishing thing he's done thus far, he's literally has millions of followers now. He's famous on social media. He could stop right now and go make a shit ton of money.
And I'll take it even one step farther. Is like they made that video. Like, yeah, they're like, oh, let's start up on TikTok. Maybe we'll go viral. Well, now he's running with it. He's just, he's capitalizing on the opportunity he was given. You know what I mean? Where it's like, if I was that age, I know if I was 17 years old and TikTok was a thing, I'd be like, oh, fuck that. You guys are fucking corny. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Da da da. Like, fuck you. Now I'm like, dude, if you have the opportunity, some of these kids have, like, run with it. Like, who
You
cares?
have to have somewhat of a business mindset to do that. Dude, we talked about Josh Richards, like the kid's 19, right? People give him shit for Portnoy used to call him wiggle dickers or something, but
Yeah.
look, now he's doing a podcast with Portnoy. But kid's 19, he's worth millions, right?
And I'll
He's
tell you what,
leveraging
that kid, he fucking figured out the algorithm. Like, he just wasn't posting shit and just like accidentally got there. Like, he put serious hours in figuring out as a kid, as a 16, 17-year-old kid, how to optimize views on his page. Like, he had the idea way before he became famous. You know what I mean? Like, he kind of, maybe just started it just for fun and then got a little bit of, but he's like, hey, I can run with this a little bit. Like, that's where the business mindset and the ambition comes in, where people run with it and are like, oh shit, I can make something this. And then I guarantee you'll see that kid, he will be successful in the future, where I think some of these other guys
will be relevant
like,
for a long time.
Yeah, they're gonna die out. Like, they don't. I don't know if they know or have that ambition to, like, continue on. And because you see now he's dabbling in Barstool. Now he's like, I see him in like lacrosse stuff. He's branching out into different avenues and using his personality to be able to optimize his growth. And I admire it. I think, like, damn, it's corny at times, but if it works, it works, dude. Who gives a shit?
There's a difference between having a platform and a following and not doing anything with it. But once you get it, getting there is hard work on its own, unless you go viral for one. Yeah. Once you have it, what you do with it is a completely different thing. Staying relevant, branching off. It's like if someone gave you $1 million right now, Rick, would you really know how to turn it into 10?
No.
Right? If you give that money to Grant Cardone, someone like that, Josh Richards, they're going to figure out ways to make it 10. Now, you would learn it knowing the type of dude you are. That's what I'm saying. But he's done that. And all these kids have followers. But like you said, if TikTok shuts down, a lot of them are going to be irrelevant.
Yeah. Yeah. Like you saw when it was about to get shut down, a lot of them like, oh, go follow this. Like, da-da-da-da. Like, they were freaking out.
That's why you see the conversion from YouTube, like when or Vine, I think it was.
Yeah, a lot of them got screwed. Like,
Never hear from them again.
Yeah.
But the true ones, you got like your Jake Paul, Logan Paul, who went YouTube, Vine, now are TikTok. Now they're fucking rich as shit.
Yeah. And I mean, it's like, people are fighting it, and it's like, dude, it's just going to be part of life forever now. I think eventually down the road, people are going to circle back because everything's cyclical. Like people are going to circle back to wanting privacy again and not wanting everything put out there. Like, I think, and this is down the road. I don't think it's anytime soon. You know what I mean? So the opportunity to capitalize on branding on social media, all different kinds of things, creating a business on just something you enjoy doing, whether it's just a side hustle or it's you want to make your career out of it. The opportunity is there. It's just putting the time in to capitalize on it.
Well, and think about it like this, right? So you're talking different generations, dude. Like what we do a lot of talking in front of the camera. It's just different. We talk, they dance, or do shit like that. Like,
yeah.
And there's still people of our friends in a different different industries or whatever. Dude, why is Tut doing all these fucking videos? It's like different people get different things. I could never do it. Like I dance goofy. I could never put a filter on and be like, like,
yeah.
What I'm saying?
I'll tell you what, it takes a lot of nuts. Like you have to have a big sack. Like they might look like bitches or whatever you want to say, but you got to have a sack of nuts to be able to put yourself out there like that.
And you can't dabble. You either, because then you're going to get shit on more. You just fully commit and wear it and be like, yeah, I'm like that. Like the dude's like Noah Beck. I'm pretty sure at first he probably got a lot of shit.
Oh,
now,
yeah.
Fucking look at him. He's probably the most sought after dude right now from ages 27 and below is that dude.
Yeah.
But you got to commit to it, dude. You can't like kind of dabble. I mean, I have 0 social media following, but I got a big jump when I said, fuck it. And I just started being myself on camera and doing a little bit more. Whereas when I first started the gym, I was like, kind of dabbling. It was awkward. It's like, you just got to kind of commit and live with a little more fuck it. Those dudes live with a lot of fuck it.
Oh yeah, dude. They're like, you know what? Fuck it. We're going to see how this works, and I think that goes to it. I mean, the argument, I think the hardest part is, trying to, you try to please crowds, right? And still try to be yourself at the same time.
Yeah.
But I think people respect you just being, like we did staff evaluations the other day, and my biggest strength, they said, was I was a goofy bastard. So like, I was like, all right, I'm going to run with that. Like I'll be, like they make you like, yeah, you make work fun, this, that, and the other, da, da, da. I'm like, all right, that, like that's my role. Like that's what everybody enjoys, and I'm with it. Like that's who I am. I'm not going to
like, I forget who I was talking to about it the other day. Like you can't be both, like, or you can't force both, right? If you're the goofy dude who's not serious, it's fine, but you can't be the dude that's goofy and then has a bad day and snaps, or like, what I'm saying? Like you kind of got to ride and be who you are, because people will see if you force it. If you are goofy and you try to not be, you're like, what the fuck's wrong, Rick? You sad today?
Yeah. And you know what? I like that though. Like when you need people like that to tell you that, because I'll have mornings where, everybody has mornings where you're not feeling the greatest, or you're just not ready for the day, whatever. But because I'm so animated all the time in the mornings, they'll call me out, like players, my other coaches, like they'll be like, yo, Rick, what's good? Like you seem down today. I'm like,
I don't get a fucking phone call or a text from you before noon. I generally think something's wrong. You're sad. You had a long night.
Yeah, it's and it's motivating. It helps. It helps when you put yourself out there, right? People respond to you and say, hey, where was your flip yesterday? It's like, shit, man. Like, you're right. Fuck, I didn't eat breakfast yesterday. That was the whole point of this thing. It was make myself eat breakfast. I didn't do it. So it's almost like a self accountability thing by putting yourself out there, using people as a like subconscious accountability, to do what you want to do and to help with your own motivation, using platforms like this to help with your own motivation.
If I walk into the gym with like creamer in my coffee, or I put up send a snap of ice cream, the amount of responses I get that say that's not vert because I preach vert so much, it's insane, especially like TP in them. Like, but it's the same thing you're talking about. Because I preach vert so much, if I'm eating something that's not, I get called out on it. It's like, fuck, you're right, dude. I know I should be eating vert because that's what works for me. What the fuck am I doing? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think it's keeps you on a straight and narrow. You can get derailed pretty easily, and I think by doing things like that, it helps you stay on a straight and narrow. But going back, we never really talked about the sign. My quote on the sign from from Coach Cox, and it kind of ties in: simple to do, simple not to do. A lot of things that we're talking about here, building the social media, to use social media as a branding technique is super fucking easy. Like, yeah, it's tedious at times, but like you have access to the biggest, easiest free marketing tool on the universe right now. And if you're not using it, you're behind the 8 ball.
Yeah.
So super simple to do, but it's super simple not to do. And like 95 to 99% of the things in life to help you be where you want to be or just make your life easier are extremely simple to do, but they're also really simple to just not do. And your life will be fine. Like you're still going to stay relatively the same. You're just not going to progress.
That's like the little things, the small acts of discipline that Kitchen talks about, right? Like for me, the number one humanity test of all humanity and character, the fucking shopping cart test, right? It's so simple to fucking walk your cart back to the cart return. It's also so simple to leave it in the parking spot next to your car that then the wind blows and it goes and fucking dings someone else's up, right?
Yeah.
It's little shit. Like it's really easy to take your shoes off and put them on the shoe rack, or it's really easy to take them off when you sit on the couch and not put them back.
You know what else? Yeah, it kind of just dawned on me is like how much of those lazy or those really small acts of laziness that you don't think add up or don't think carry large weight. You know what I mean? Just like you said, you don't put the shopping cart back, it blows into somebody's car and it dings it up. How you just literally ruined that motherfucker's day because you didn't want to put your goddamn shopping cart back. Sorry for saying, but I mean, all because you didn't want to put it back. You just ruined somebody else's day. I
think so much
how
of that
pissed off would Ashley get if you don't put your shoes on the shoe rack? You're just ruining your wife's day.
When I don't put my spitters away, now I make sure I only have one on my desk at a time. When I don't put them away and then Stark chews them, then it stains the carpet. He carries them on the bed, rips the top off. It gets on the thing. Then she's got to do more laundry. Like little act.
Yeah.
Just put it in the fucking garbage. I just did it tonight. I got Bubba Coos. Shout out. Deliver, right? And our couch is in front of the door. And I was like, fuck, dude, I don't have shoes on. I don't want to walk around outside. I started to pull the couch out to open, and I was like, be a lazy motherfucker. Just walk outside, walk around, and get your food. I actually had to stop and think about it. And I was like, what type of person am I if I pull the couch out, open the door, climb over the couch, get it? It was like all the shit that we preach all the time. I had to like stop for a second.
Yeah, and it adds up. Like when you do those little tasks after a while, it just subconsciously creates motivation within yourself. Like, oh, I have a complete, the psychologists talk about all the time, like completing small tasks help build completing larger tasks, where making your bed every day, the cliche one, making sure your laundry's done consistently every, the same time each week, or just creating a schedule the night before of what you want to get done the next day. Those little things add up to create your life. And I'll tell you what, I am super bad at it, but I know I'm bad at it and I'm continuously trying to work on it. But it's hard to be consistent. That's the hardest part, is the consistency part.
That's my number one coaching cue. That's my number one of my biggest life cues that I always use, right? It's like I always just tell people with baseball, I correct something. I'm like, do you feel when you do it wrong? And they're like, no. If you're not aware of it or you can't feel it, you can't change it because you don't know you're doing something wrong, right? You admitted you're bad at it, so you actually can go fix it. If you didn't know you weren't doing it, you weren't aware of it. If you didn't know that you were flaring your elbows when you're benched because you can't feel it, you can't change it. So you have to be aware of what you're doing and of your mistakes or your technical flaw in order to be able to change it. And I think that it's so much harder when it comes to mental things, conscious things, like remembering to put your shoes away, little shit like that.
And the smaller it is, the harder to realize how effective it can be, where a simple thing of like, this is like a training thing, but on a band pull apart, keeping your shoulders down instead of letting your traps take over is going to allow the muscles that you're trying to work rather than the ones that you're not trying to work take over and compensate. Same thing in life when, putting your shoes away, you don't think that far in advance where it could affect somebody else's life. But at the same sense, if you can start realizing those things, that's where the ball really starts rolling. You can be like, okay, wow, if you can think that far in advance, you know what I mean? Having a global perspective on things. That's what a lot of these, you know, the guys like Jordan Peterson and different like Sam Harris, those kind of guys, they always preach about having like a global perspective on things. And
I love Jordan Peterson, bro.
I know he's the man. When you can talk, when you can think of things like that and think of consequences before you actually get to the consequences, you know, that's where you see successful people. You know, and I mean, it's a work in progress, and everybody you know, you're not going to get there, and you have to train your brain to think like that. You know, it's huge in training, it's huge in athletics. I think the greatest athletes in the world are the people that understand their body the best. They might not know that they understand their body, but they can feel things like a sprinter, for example, like, you know, I didn't feel right coming out of the blocks there. Like I know something's off, right? Then he talks to his coach and he says, you know what? All right, let's go back and look at it. Like, okay, yeah, you know, you didn't get full extension on your front leg there. Let's work on it. Let's identify what your problems are, so that way we can work on those. People that can identify their problems become the greatest athletes in the world.
Dude, that's like, is there an echo in here? You know what I'm saying? Like, that's exactly what I was just talking about. Like, if you can feel it, you can change it, you know? But it is harder when it comes down to like habit, like a conscious habit, cognitive habit, rather than, you know, something physical. Because that's something you actually have to look in the mirror and be like, I don't fucking put my clothes away. You know what I'm saying? Like, I leave them in the dirty laundry, and then I leave them in the laundry basket, take it, wear it, and they never make it into my drawer. You know, like, you have to be aware of that. If you're not aware of it, you're never gonna fix it.
And you know, it makes you wonder, like, what causes you to slip into that? You know, like, where does the root of the problem come from? You know, like, why do I not make my bed in the morning? You know, and then you start thinking about it. Okay, well,
Is it discipline? Because you know that you should.
And you know what? It goes even deeper. It gets even simpler. Like, well, I didn't because I laid in bed and I had to get up at that specific time, and I felt that if I made my bed, I was going to be on time. You know, it's like other factors that influence you on not doing the things that you know you're supposed to do.
I'm the worst with that. Like, I know I should eat eggs before I go to my 5 a.m. session. I wait till 7:30 till I'm done with my first sessions of the morning. You know what I'm saying? Because I know I should get up at 4:15. I get up at 4:35. You know how much more I could get done with that? How much better it would be for my body if I woke up 20 minutes earlier? And guess what? I was just telling a college kid this. I was like, dude, come in at 8:30. He's like, dude, that's early. I'm like, I was like, what time you get up? He's like 11. I was like, are you still tired? Do you not want to get up at 11? He's like, yeah. I was like, you're going to be tired at fucking 7:30. You're going to be tired at 10:30. You're going to be tired at 4:15 when you get up. You're going to be tired at 4:35.
Yeah.
So, like, just get the fuck up. And I need to do that myself. I don't fucking do that.
And I think it, you know, it comes back to, and maybe this is the answer. You know, I don't know. We're just kind of shooting the shit here, but discipline is, I think, the root of it all. Where if you can just be disciplined in yourself, a lot of those things take care of themselves on their own. You know, I heard a good quote. It was, discipline is painful in the moment. I'm butchering it, but this was like the sense of it is like discipline. It's from a Bible verse. I heard it from Cam Davidson. He was like, discipline in and of itself is painful in the moment, but you can reap large benefits in the end, or something like that. It was from like the book of Hebrews or something,
Like,
but basically saying
short term for long term.
yeah, like if you can be, and it's so fucking hard at times. Like
does a piece of pizza taste as good as a 6-pack feels?
and you know what? It makes you feel like such a bitch too.
It does.
When you fuck up, it's like, I fucking do it all the time. Always find myself thinking like, you dumb bitch.
I have a real coward way out that I handle it.
Like,
and
if you just fucking got up, you wouldn't be in this situation you are.
Exactly.
Just stop being a little bitch and fucking get your ass out of bed.
I'm always like, you know what? I'm not a routine guy. I want a routine, but sometimes my day ends at 5:30. Sometimes I'm down here till 9. If I had to be to work at 9 every day, or even if it was 5, right? Every single day. And I knew I was done at 4, right? I would wake up, do this. I would be home at 4:30. I would take my shoes off in the same spot. I would put them away, routine. Sometimes it's like I'm running around. get home at 5:30, get home at 8:30, on here till 10, not on here till 10, at home, I leave to go to Pennsylvania. I'm like, my routine's it's such a bitch fucking coward way out of it. And I blame my not doing those little things on that.
Okay, that makes you think about two things. You're the same way as me, where, and maybe it comes back to the lack of discipline, but I have an easy time convincing myself as to why I do things. You know, like I spin zone it in my brain where I'm like, yeah, you know what? It's okay to do this. Right. Where, you know, if you can resist that, stick to what your plan is and stick to your goal. And then the flip side of that, the second thing is like, sometimes you see people that have routines like that are just stuck. They're just kind of stuck in life. Like they have a 9 to 5. They're cool with just being, middle of the road income, middle of the road at everything, because they don't want to stray from the routine. They're scared to stray from the routine because they're afraid it's going to cause change and cause them to fail. Where other people are more willing to take a risk and get out of the routine to go try something new that maybe will lead to something successful, but they lack that sense of the routine mindset to help with their ambitions. You know what I'm trying to say?
And change is hard. So I think it's kind of a scare tactic thing for people too. So when you talk about getting out of that routine, then there's no guarantees, there's no return. Everything that they've usually done, they've built that routine off an ROI, really. You know what I'm saying? They know they go to work at this time, they're going to get this. They're going to get home, they're going to get this, right? I'm going to start a new company. Where's your guarantee ROI? Where's your guaranteed sleep? Where's your guarantee that you're going to still feel as good at you're going to be able to perform at your regular job the same way? Where's your guarantee that you're not going to fail and look like an idiot publicly, right? So when you stray away from it, like a routine for a lot of people, it's like a safety net. You know what I'm saying? Like it keeps you protected. If you don't leave it, you can't fuck up because you know what's going to happen every single day.
Yeah, and I think it's a hardwired thing in your brain or just in your personality, where I think it really comes back to competitiveness too. Like if you're a super competitive person, I think that you're more apt to take those risks and step out of your comfort zone and try new things,
I hate when the next day is the same. That's what I love about my job. I wish I had a routine. I feel like I could probably get a lot more productive shit done if I went and sat at my desk for 8 straight hours every day, right? Every single day is different. I don't know what facility I'm going to. I don't know what issue is going to happen with someone on the staff. I don't know what's going to happen training wise. I don't know if I get it with the baby, it's like, but that shit like fuels me. You know what I'm saying?
That's the exciting part.
Yeah.
That's the exciting part of life. And, if you can, and it comes back to like self-awareness and identifying what your problems are. Like if you're like that, you have to surround yourself with people that are going to help you along with what you're weak at. You know what I mean? So I say all the time that this might be a cop out, but like, I think one of my first hires, like you said, if I had $1 million, if I was given $1 million, you know what I think my first hire would be? A personal assistant. Like someone that I can just say, hey, remind me to do this then. Or like, hey, I need this done. Like, can you go run this go to the grocery store? I need this now. Or like,
I don't think you'd be good with it. The same reason I would. I could have one right now, but it comes down to delegation and you're a doer. Like that's what an automated reminder calendar is for. You know what I'm saying? But you would never be like, hey, go do this. How many months did it take us working together for me to finally be like, all right, Rick, I need you to take over this. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think that it's easy to think. It's fucking hard to delegate when it's your job and your reputation.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
Like
it comes back to the discipline thing. Like you just got to be disciplined in the things that'll take you to the next level. And
someone
said it's work in progress.
Someone responded to my question today and was like, can I be your assistant? My wheels started turning the car. I'm like, oh, that'd be cool. What would I have him do? I couldn't think of anything. I don't think I'm that important. Definitely not. I definitely don't need one. You know what I'm saying?
No, 100%. I do not need one.
No,
like it's like one of those, I never attainable dreams, that kind
Yeah.
of thing.
Oh, if you're that much of a big stick, it'd be sick. I would have more like a manager. Someone manage me. Make sure I'm doing my shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I would
That
hire
might be a better term.
I would hire you to manage my shit. Just to be like, all right, dude, we got to do this today. I'm gonna go do it with you. You know what I'm saying? Rather than like, hey Rick, can you call Doc for me? Dial him in. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah, no, yeah. I think a manager might be like a life manager.
if I had to hire a life manager, I would hire B-Tub.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, he's killing it.
Dude, he's just born for that. He's born for like event planning. He's born for like logistical shit. You know what I'm saying? Like tonight, he wouldn't fucking stop talking about us having the big weekend together for like the summit thing in December. It's like, we should talk about it. We're like, he's like, no, we should talk
Even your
about it. Like,
bachelor party, dude, that shit was fucking like the planning that went into that was crazy.
dude, he had 3 kegs brought every day. So at 10 a.m. the next day, they would come take the warm kegs, bring new kegs, 330 racks, 3 bottles of Tito's and food. Well, chips. Then the next day, same thing. Next day, same thing. I was like, where the fuck do you find these people? He said they found me. Like, we'll bring anything to you guys except for hard drugs. Like, if you want food, if you want like pool floats, like whatever, we'll deliver it. We'll be your concierge, just no drugs.
Yeah. And you know what? It's to the delegating point. Like you can see his involvement and desire and like effort and, you know, just his overall
Excitement.
yeah, like escalate once he came into that role, you know? So I think that's a great thing where if you are managing people or just working with people, when you see something that they're good at, fucking let them do it.
All Bito wants to do, he wants to call these companies to set up speaking engagements for us. He
Yeah,
loves
like-
it. Like that's what he's been doing that shit since we were like fucking 10, dude.
Yeah, like if we have guys that just are like tech whizzes that love fucking working with the data, don't force them to do something else. Just let them do what they're good at and what they want to
That
do.
was a fail of us for the first couple months with this. We were thinking everyone would be on Instagram, do that. You can't. You need people to do the other shit. If I had $1 million, if I had one hire, I would hire a full-time videographer.
Yeah, just because you know
all
then,
around.
yeah, because that's something that you know we don't have, or that you know just something that is very valuable, that is very unique. That somebody who's passionate about it will do a much better job than any of
How
us.
many times were we like, dude, we should have been fucking recording that?
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, probably a lot of stuff would have to be edited out, but you know, it is what it is. But what are you doing for Thanksgiving?
I'm actually staying out here. Our teams are playing the weekend, so we're gonna have a team dinner and shit. So just kind of hanging out here, and you know, with everything going on, there's not a lot. My family's not doing anything. They're kind of just having a little something at the house. You know, my high school's Thanksgiving Day game now doesn't allow fans, which is not preposterous, but sucks. It's the first one I'll miss. Well, I missed one, but I've made every other one like my entire life.
It might be time to close the yearbook, kid.
Hey, man, I peaked at 17, so you know, it's
When you go
It's
back
the
there,
highlight
it's
of the year.
"Yo, Rick's here."
no, definitely not. But I like to think so.
I don't step foot on my high school ever because I was such a fucking loser in high school.
Yeah, I like to think so, but no, definitely not. They're like, who the fuck is this douchebag with his fucking varsity jacket on, you know, from fucking 2012?
You still wear it.
It's the only day of the year I get to, so why not?
That's
Eventually, I'm
awesome.
going to outgrow it, hopefully. Probably not, but
No, that's all. Well, I mean, I hope you do too. But yeah, I think an interesting piece of that is like this time of year with the holidays is people start freaking out about like calories and training and shit. And it's always interesting to see people's like mental state through the holidays. You know what I'm saying? Because
I like your take on it, man. I would advise anyone who is worried about their health and well-being or intake and take Coach Tut's advice.
Yeah, dude, it's something I really just kind of like. I didn't even hear it from anyone. I just started thinking about it. I always thought about like for growing muscle, we always preach caloric intake, right? Get carbs, get protein. Like, what's a better time than the next 6 weeks? You're at countless family events. You have Thanksgiving, you have Christmas, Christmas Eve, New Year's, you have all the parties, ugly sweater parties before it, all that shit. You're never going to be able to burn off what you take in. it's just science. You're never going to beat it. So you're going to drive yourself up a fucking wall if you're like, oh,
You're gonna be miserable.
man, I had 5 cookies last night. I'm going to go on a run tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? Like, you might as well look at it for the next 6 weeks. You can put on as much muscle as you possibly can. Use the calories. Like, that's it. Like, you might not even put on fat. Yes, you might put a little, but put the calories to use to build muscle.
So, yeah,
Which in
so if you're
turn, more muscle, more fat burn.
100%, if you're putting together a plan, like just plan that, hey, the 6 weeks from Thanksgiving to New Year's Day, it's going to be a huge strength block or huge hypertrophy block, and or whatever your goal is. Like, just gear it to what your situation is.
Yeah, just use them. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is so simple. Like, instead of going for a run, go do 5 sets of 20 on the leg press. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah,
go do 300 push-ups instead of going on a run. You know, you're still going to get your heart rate's going to get up. Like, you're still going to get that burn, but you're going to be building muscle. The more muscle you have, the more fat you're going to burn sitting there doing nothing. Fat or muscles are living. They're living organisms. They need to survive. Fat is not, so it just sits there.
yeah,
So
and
the
you're going to
more
be
you put on, the more
you
you're going to
get-
burn.
if you do, and why not use it to gain some strength that you can use in the next year.
Yeah,
Like, go into a serious strength phase where you're trying to get as strong as you can in the lifts that you want to get strong in.
I already
Yeah.
said, like, I'm gonna really, really push it the next 6 weeks. I'm gonna put on a little fat, but if I can put on, like,
You're in a sweater fucking anyway. You're in ugly sweaters and shit anyway.
Yeah.
So who cares?
I'm gonna put on some fat. I would say if I could put on, like, if it's like 1%, I don't want to obviously go crazy, like 1 to 1.5% of body fat, whatever. But if I can really push some weight and then just shred it off after, there's literally nothing after New Year's. What's the next big holiday?
Dude, that's a great point. Like,
Memorial
you
Day.
can then really dial in for the next.
That's when you go
however
into
long.
your fucking cocoon. You don't talk to anyone. There's nothing on the weekends. There's no big holidays. You train.
Shitty weather.
You watch Netflix. You sleep. You watch Netflix. You work out. That's it. You know, like, the timing of it couldn't be more perfect. And when does that lead you to? Fucking shirtless season. Boom. Memorial Day. It's off, right? That's the peak.
And
The
two-
timing couldn't work any more perfect. It's the end of the summer. Like,
And two is like, it's only going to make your time during the holidays that much more enjoyable. You're not going to have to worry about it. Like, you'll be able to enjoy it and be like, you know what? I'm putting this shit to use anyway. Like, you know,
It's it
obviously-
more so for your mental state than for what you do physically. You will
Yeah.
enjoy going to parties and you won't walk past that table of shit. I'm not saying sit there and eat 15 pumpkin pies, but go have some fucking gravy on your mashed potatoes. Go have a couple cookies after. Have a couple eggnogs. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, man.
enjoy
It's
it.
the end of the year. That's what it's all. That's what it's for. Like, you know, they're in succession of each other. You might as well take advantage of it.
I've been there
Enjoy
before.
yourself.
I've been so worried about my weight and worried about doing this that I would go to family parties and sit there and not eat and be miserable or have a cookie and
Yeah.
be so upset the next day. I've been there, and it can be so frustrating and miserable to a point where you're not enjoying your time with your family.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, I got a devil's advocate to that. Like, the only people you feel bad for is like winter sport athletes, like wrestlers and basketball players. You know what I mean? Like, this is their time of year. But on the contrary, you got to look at yourself and be like, hey, I'm fucking still able to play the damn sport that I love. So, you know what? It just is what it is. I'm going to use the summer as my time to fuck around or whatever.
I feel like wrestling's different. You can't enjoy shit ever. You're fucking spitting into a water bottle to make weight. Basketball, those dudes are running enough. I argue to say any of those dudes eat whatever the fuck they want right now. Like, do you really think they watch what they eat that much? Those dudes
They
are-
got the high levels. Yeah, it's important. Like, you and more
Really,
so of not
did-
so much like body comp, but just performance wise. Like, you have to watch what you're doing.
I
but,
recall seeing a lot of football players eat McDonald's on the reg and not care in season.
Yeah, I mean that you know, it's so individualized. Like, I would never advise someone to do that in the middle of their season because of how much it can affect your performance. You have
I would
kids.
say it's also different though. They're gonna be around shit less because they're at school, still training, still practice, still games. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They're not gonna be at all the ugly sweater parties.
True.
They're not gonna get. They really don't get New Year's Eve. You know what I'm saying? Like, they might get Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Thanksgiving. It's 3 days and 40 days. I don't think it's a
Yeah.
big issue. But for us, like when we were home, like in college, we can have fucking 5 weeks being around home cooked meals, holiday parties, no school, drinking. Like,
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, it's just taking advantage of the situation that you're in and optimizing it. It's kind of been the whole point of this whole thing. Is like, if you have the opportunity to do that, then do it.
yeah.
Like,
And just-
don't you can't consistently, you can't for your in the sense of those kind of things. Like, you have to look at it in a global perspective and say, I am not going to be able to hold myself to this strict of a diet or strict of whatever. Like, you have to give yourself a break. It's the same thing with training. If you just go balls to the wall every single day, every single week, you're not going to last. You're going to break down. It's the same thing in just, your life or whatever. You have to give yourself a break at some point.
And that's
No,
what I
like-
tell people too. I'm like, you're like my clients. I'm like, you're not competing in a bodybuilding show. Your body's not going to change if you go and have for say 5 events, right? From Thanksgiving to New Year's, like for a couple of ugly sweaters, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's, right? So maybe 6 days of 40. Now, you just lock in your shit the days you can. Control the controllables. Like, that's what it comes down to. Do the right shit when you're not at those so you can do that and then relax. You're not competing for a bodybuilding show. Your body fat percentage is not going to go up 3% from 6 days out of 40 eating bad, right? So the only person that's going to know is your brain, because you won't even be able to physically look at yourself and see a difference.
Yeah, it's all just a mental game.
That's it. Dude.
If you can, like you said, control the controllables and optimize shitty situations, maybe not even shitty situations, just situations that are unexpected or different than what you're normally used to or that normally happen, optimizing them and finding a way to be like, okay, well, I'm in this situation. How the hell do I make it my best? That's what you have to do. So if you're going to have 6 parties in a row, well, okay. Or you're going into a holiday season where you have some time off. You're not worried about you're not worried about too much. Well, let's just use it to my advantage. And I'm going to put those calories to use.
I think that's the best way that you can look at it. Other, you're going to burn yourself the fuck out trying to out. It's the most cliche old saying of all time. You can't outwork a bad diet. You can't go on a run and burn. What is it, like 50 burpees burns off an M&M or something fucking crazy like that? I don't know.
Burpees are overrated, but
You've been watching too much fucking Boyle.
yeah. Well, I just saw
He's
his
been
thing.
going
It
off
said-
about burpees, bro.
Yeah, he's been going off. In my opinion, all training has some type of merit, or else it wouldn't be popular. Like everything has merit to some extent. Okay, so a big one, right, is burpees. You're talking about burpees. Are burpees the best thing for conditioning for an athlete? Probably not, because it's a lot of wear and tear on your joints, and it doesn't really do anything besides get your heart rate up. So, like, is it the best choice? Probably not. But if somebody does them correctly, if they're training for CrossFit, okay, burpees are a big thing in CrossFit. If you're training be a CrossFit athlete, then you probably have to practice burpees doing them correctly. Marco showed me the way to correctly do a burpee, and if you do it right, it's not as bad for you as you'd think.
Wide legs out, hips first.
Yeah, like you fling your feet up and then you do a nice, good jump, controlled jump, and you do a correct push, like eccentric push on the way down. If you do it right, it's not as bad. Would I program it for, a football player normally to do their conditioning? No, because it's gonna fucking tear them apart. Like, they get up and down off the ground all day.
Yeah.
So why am I going to continue doing that in their conditioning session or whatever? So yeah, it's hard. It sucks. It's an easy way to make people feel like they're working hard. But
Did you see what we just got at Saddlebrook?
yeah, the assault bike. Look out, baby. We'll be on that for 2 weeks and be like, this thing sucks. I'm done.
I won't ever be on it. I literally just bought it for the staff. That was their Christmas gift.
Yeah. But again, for example, a hockey player, bikes are huge because it gets them off the ice. It's easy on your joints, but at the same time, you don't want to program too much bike work because, sorry, am I sick? Can you still hear me?
Yep.
Okay. You don't want to program too much bike work, and that's my opinion, is because they're already in that crouch position. You know what I mean? They're always in that hip flex position. So putting them on a bike is only continuing that pattern. So in the early off season, in season, they're already in it so much. Bike work can be great to get them off the ice and do some conditioning. But when you're away, then they're not on the ice as much. Get them in hip extension as much as you can, backwards running, sprinting, things like that, where they're not going to be in that position. Same thing goes for like these people that are doing these, Alvin Kamara shit where they're catching light bulbs and shit on fucking balls. Is that the smartest thing to do? Like for 45 minutes as an entire training session? Probably not. The risk versus reward, like you could really injure yourself if you do it like serious. But if you want to do it for 10 minutes and maybe you don't have him stand on a Bosu ball because like the risk of him falling is really high. But like if you want to do some cognitive training for a warm up for 10 minutes before you start training, dude, great.
Yeah.
Sure. If it makes them feel better, great. If you're not hurting somebody, if you're making them better, if their performance is increasing, their performance indicators are increasing and they feel they're getting better, I'm not going to argue with you about doing anything because you're if they're not getting hurt, they're getting better and they feel they're getting better. Who's to say you're wrong?
Well, you hit on a really good point. Is that it is so different for everyone. And I think when you take it and you take athletes away and look at like general population, like a big part of my assessment is like, what do you do all day at work? Right. I'm like, oh, you sit at a desk for 8 hours. And what do you do 3 days a week? Oh, you go to a cycling class. I was like, that's probably like the worst thing that you could do. You're in a flexion position all day. Your knees are jacked up. Your hip flexors are jacked up all day. Then you're going to get on a bike and do that and add resistance to it. Okay. And you're telling me your hips are tight and your knees bother you. Okay. Well, probably your seat on your bike's bad too. So you're driving now, you're torquing patella. But if they're like, I'm a construction worker, I'm on my feet all day. So dude, go do spin class. That's great. Right.
Yeah.
That's where people, they don't understand that. A lot of people don't understand that. Which goes into like really having at least getting an assessment because people think doing something, everyone always says, just do something. That's not always the best thing. You got to have an idea.
It's good to start.
Yeah.
Do something, but then assess what you're feeling. Identify why are you feeling the certain ways you feel. If your knees are bothering you, think back of why your knees are possibly bothering. What do I do on a daily basis? Like you're saying, that's causing this pain because pain is just a sensory input to your brain saying that, hey, what you're doing is not good for me, for your body. There's something wrong. You know what I mean? It's not saying that there's something actually damaged in your body. Sometimes it is, but sometimes it's just saying like, hey, something you're doing is wrong. We have to change. It's just an indicator saying like, you have to change something because shit's fucked up.
You know what I just learned the other day? Like your hip flexors, your psoas and shit, they all attach the same place that your lats and shit do. Remember your T7 to T12? So when you have jacked up hip flexors and shit, no wonder you're carrying a lot of stress in your thoracic.
Okay, so this is a big thing
You just got fired up, dude.
Yeah, this is a big thing that I've been diving into in terms of training and movement. I think a big healer for people is moving, right? The resting, I think is way too much prescribed for injuries. And now, if you have a surgery, if you broke your leg, if you had a serious injury to your body where your body has to repair it before you can do anything, obviously you have to rest. You can't use that limb or whatever is wrong. But if you're having some type of chronic pain or whatever, 90% of the time it's because it's you're sedentary in a specific position or you're not using that muscle for something. So you have to use movement to create that imbalance or asymmetry or whatever's causing that pain to fix it. Now, like you said, with the psoas, kind of what you said before, where proximal stability creates distal mobility. It's a huge topic right now, and it makes a ton of sense. The body is encased in fascia, right? So the outer lining of muscles, the things that encapsulate your muscles, is basically all connected, right? So something that a lot of times your hip may be hurting, but it's just a signal saying something else. That's what's getting the problem, or that's what's just signaling to your brain like, yeah, I got an issue. But it's because your brain is saying, okay, well, because I have reduced ankle mobility, I'm going to use my hip to get what I need to get done, right? Because your body will just use the path of least resistance. So just because you have hip pain doesn't mean that's where the issue is. And I would say majority of the time it's not.
That was a big
unless
thing
there's
in the
unless there's actual damage to the hip, right? Which even still could have been caused by the opposing limb or whatever. there's a RPR, reflexive performance reset, is huge right now, and I called it snake water. I wasn't huge into it, but I think it does have merit, and it talks about different force lines, and like if you rub, like there's a basically it's in simple terms the pressure point, like right behind your head. Okay, that force line is directly connected to your glute. Okay, so if you release this pressure here, essentially, I'm really simple, like I'm not certified in it, and I haven't done enough research on it to really in depth know it. But basically, if you release this pressure or say, "Hey, I'm safe," basically, like telling your brain, like I'm safe, it will activate your glute or turn on your glute or release the tension there, and your hip pain will go away. It's crazy. Like there's a ton of people that are in it and a ton of testimonials that are coming out saying this shit works. And it makes sense because your body is encapsulated by this tissue that really isn't researched that much, fascia, that causes these imbalances or tightnesses or stiffness, whatever it might be. And you, like, again, global perspective, you have to look at the body as a whole. You can't just say I have hip pain, something's wrong with my hip. A lot of times it's not the problem. It's just because you've been doing something for so long on a compensated pattern, i.e. an ankle or a shoulder, your hip is taking the brunt of the movement, causing it to be in pain. Same thing if you have a surgery, right? Your left, say you have surgery on your right leg, your left leg starts to hurt a lot because it's taking the brunt of the work, you know?
That's what I
Same
tell people
concept as if
a
you
lot about the AC joint, right? That sharp pain in there, that impingement, and they're like, I see people doing banded front raise, or doing push-ups, or trying to, and I'm like, you got to do more. You got to do more face pulls. You got to do more back. They're like, why? I'm like, because you've done so much. You've been using your anterior delt so much, doing so many push, so many bench, so many overhead press, this, that. You don't do any rows. You don't keep your body in the position it's made to be in, right? So naturally, when you're rounded and that joint is not where it's supposed to be, you're going to get those impingements, right? So 9 times out of 10, when someone says they have an AC joint issue, or same thing with a hip flexor, it's probably usually glute, right? Something along those lines, or knee or ankle. You identify the other area, the antagonistic, and pull them back or address those areas, and you're going to get this pain to go away. My mom just did it. She's like, I did your thing, 4 sets of 20 face pulls for a week. I don't have any more shoulder pain.
Yeah. I mean, it, the idea of,
We lost your mic, dude.
oh, sorry. How about now?
Yeah, we're good.
I think I accidentally hit the mute button. But the idea of making sure you're in balance in terms of your movements and stuff like that, and life is not set up. The way we go through life is not set up for posture and correct movement.
Your mic was backwards.
How about now?
So much better, dude.
All right. How long was I like that?
We gotta get you a fucking stand.
All right. Well, anyway, life is not set up for correct movement and posture and patterns, right? We sit at a desk. You sit at a desk. You're on your phone. Right now, how I'm sitting, I'm fucking slouched over. I'm talking to this damn microphone, right? This is not correct patterns. Think of the human origins. We were meant to walk around and go gather and hunt, right? We were meant to move. So life right now is everybody's trying to make us move less in terms of simplifying. Like, Christ, somebody told me the other day I haven't went to the grocery store in months because I just order my groceries. I'm like, what? Like, you don't even get up and go to the damn grocery store? Like, walk around the grocery. Like, imagine that. If you don't got to go to the grocery store, you can literally just go to work, come home, go to bed, go to work, come home, go to bed.
A
You
lot of
literally
those
don't
people
move
are
at all.
probably working from home.
Yeah.
They
So,
do.
and I mean, you can go through life and not have any problems whatsoever, but like eventually down the road, it's like
Those like hypermobile people. And sometimes
Crazy.
that's worse.
yeah. I
You know
mean,
what I'm saying?
but if you have issues, you got to look at what the hell you're doing with your life now and being like, well, what's causing this? Because it seems complicated, but it's not really rocket science.
I'm dealing with a fuck ton of hip flexor pain, like worse than I've ever had. Just my right one. And
Yeah.
it seems to only happen since I've been warming up properly since that certification. And honestly, I think it's because I'm starting to use muscles squatting that I never have before. And my body and my hips are identifying this new pattern while using a lot of those muscles, because I never activated things properly before until I started doing this. And now I'm just my right one. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what it is, but it's crazy how that pain can come from something, maybe even something being turned on that has never been turned on before when you're doing those movement patterns, you know?
Yeah. I would say also that it obviously, it depends on what your pain is. Like, is it actual pain or you feel like it's soreness?
It's sharp pain, but not until I get warmed up.
It's after or before?
It's after I get warmed up.
Yeah, so maybe it's something within. I would look back in your warm-up routine now and say, okay, am I doing it to its full capacity? Am I hitting all of the things that I'm supposed to be hitting? Because if you do try something new and you're not balanced in what your warm-up routine is, it can cause imbalances again,
I think it caused a little bit of a hip shift, honestly, when I was squatting. And I think it's all on one side now.
So, it could be a multitude of things. And like you said, you haven't figured it out. You just got to reflect and figure out,
And we were doing
what works, what doesn't.
So I was working for more of like a hip hinge now on a squat. He was like, I was like, I sit back pretty low. I mean, I sit back pretty far now. He's like, dude, you actually have, I always bitch that I have no ankle mobility. I actually have pretty good ankle mobility.
I was going to say, the videos I see, you're pretty deep, dude.
Yeah. And I was like the second nicest thing you've ever said to me. I lost my train of thought because I'm flustered. I was sitting more back, right, trying to drive more heels, and I think that that might just changing the movement pattern. So now that loads on different areas that it hasn't been on, especially when I'm not doing it with like 135. I'm doing it like 85%. But
yeah. So I get, like you said, you have to just try to identify those things and say, all right, well, and just continuing education, figuring out, okay, well, my hip flexor body, let's do some research on hip flexors and see where, what are they connected to? Like you said, maybe it's your T-spine, like your T-spine mobility could be affecting that. Maybe it's in your shoulders. I
think I need a freaking thoracic adjustment. I am locked up, dude. I was trying to just do the whole basketball behind my back today when I was fucking around with TP. I couldn't even get my rotate. I'm just locked up.
Yeah. So like I said, that could be a derivative of it as well. There's everything's connected. So, and a lot of times it doesn't pop up until the damage is already done. Not the damage, but the stiffness is already there.
I actually have a big pull meet this Saturday.
Really?
In Berwick, they're doing at the gym like a big group lift. Like everyone's just gonna pull heavy. Like it's not like a meet. It's not a meet or anything. But all the guys there, I just found out about it. So Saturday, it should be pretty fun. Saturday, 5:00.
Shit.
I don't even know what I'm going to try to pull. I haven't pulled anything above like 80% since I maxed.
Well, that was how long ago?
12 weeks.
I'll give it a rip.
But I mean, if I can pull 585, I'd be happy. I didn't train hard for like 6 weeks. After the baby, that was one of those things. After the baby, I just didn't really know what the fuck to do. That was one of those things where at that time, my priorities were, I wasn't even upset about it because I didn't, it was like, take care of her. My training comes second, whatever. This recording should go on the podcast app. This is a long one.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we should start uploading these to the pod. Like just on the thing. You don't have to promote it. It's just on there for people to listen to.
I think we should. Yeah. But Rick, it's been great little weekly rip here. We have to move it up a day. Holidays, but I think maybe, what do you want to release this Thursday? People get a little listen to something while they're preparing the turk.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, fuck yeah.
Cool.
It's fucking, we'll get it out there. YouTube, Spotify, iTunes.
I hope that I get a phone call, over the next couple of days from you. Don't let it go.
Happy Turkey Day.
Again.
What?
Don't go 2 days without saying hi ever again.
Did I really go 2 days?
Yeah.
Really?
But, all right, squad. Love you all. Fuel your body. Fill your sleeves.
Hey.
What do we got? Do we got anything else coming up? We got a new clothes merch dropping Friday. Black Friday sale coming tonight at midnight. I say that tonight as in like you're listening to this on Thursday.
Oh, good. Yes.
It's tonight at midnight. It's going to be a good one. And then we have a new line coming out for you guys with it. Pretty excited. So at midnight, not only are the deals coming, but new pieces of apparel.
Yeah, fucking buy a t-shirt for Christ's sake.
That's what I'm saying.
You know, just help us out. Look at my wall. I need a paint job.
Simple to do. It's simple not to do. Right. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I could just probably paint the wall now if I really.
No, I'm saying buying a shirt. It's simple to do. It's simple not to do.
Yeah, same
Buy a
thing.
fucking shirt. Use my code, Papa Tut.
No,
But-
that's true. I'm trying to win the monthly award.